So the thing that got me interested in the Octave Cat was a local music store around here actually has one, and I got to play around with it for about a half an hour, and I was super impressed. The thing's freaking sweet, but you know, I just can't justify spending over $1,000 on an old keyboard. This is actually the first revision, I think. It doesn't have, the later revisions had an LED for the LFO to indicate what was going on there. And they also had CV and gate control in the back, and this one doesn't even have CV and gate control. It's so old. So I was also I've kind of been into OTAs lately. The IR3109 has been a big point of fixation in my mind lately, and so I was playing around with 13700s, and I made the typical 4 cascaded poles with some feedback around them, but according to my notes you can see that I was not pleased with the sound. I thought it sounded boring. So I kind of checked out the service manual for the Cat, and it was like, what are they doing? So from my understanding, there are 3 revisions of the Cat. There's an early revision that was more or less fully discrete with CA3080 OTA chips. And then the second revision shown here has the SSM 2040, which is a quad OTA chip that you can build your own topology around. And then the third revision had the SSM 2044, which, you know, the whole topology and everything is built into that chip, so you really don't have a lot of flexibility there. So I was kind of looking at this topology here, and it was like, what the hell are what are they doing? So I figured out that what they're doing is they have basically two pole state variable filters in series. So each one of these is kind of like the filter that you would find in an Oberheim SEM, and you know, they also do the same thing you would do in the cascaded 4-pole filter, where you have 180 degrees of phase shift at the pole and the output, and then you take the feedback around to get the resonance. And so I kind of like this topology. It's pretty neat. It's like a combination between the typical 2-pole state variable filter you see everywhere and the cascaded 4-pole filter, which I've been kind of a fan of lately with the Juno 60 and the 202 and stuff. So I got this filter breadboarded, and it's kind of a beast. It would be hard in my experience to fit all that stuff into a decently sized Eurorack module, so I do think it's a great idea to go to some quad 4-pole kind of a chip, or quad OTA kind of a chip, mixing up my lingo there, like the AS13704, or I was even thinking, you know, prior to our discussion, about putting one of these in an AS3320, because that's like the SSM 2040. That's a chip that just has 4 OTAs and 4 buffers in it, and you can kind of do whatever you want as far as the topology goes. That chip would also be a good candidate, because I'm just kind of thinking out loud, it has the exponential current source built in. But anyways, you know, whatever, we'll figure it out. I'll demo this real quick, and but I do think that this design needs a little bit of taming and attention to detail, and, you know, shrinking it down so that it's more simple and efficient before I think it would make a good Eurorack module. But I think it would be a good candidate for something that is not super common out there, and sounds pretty good. So anyways, then one other thing I forgot to note, and you can probably get some pretty cool responses out of this. Like, this would just be your standard 4-pole low pass, and this would be your 2-pole low pass right there. But I think you could also get like a 2-pole low pass plus a 1-pole band pass there, and maybe a 1-pole band pass there. So I'm not quite sure theoretically if that's correct. I just kind of pulled that out of my off the top of my head, but you know, anyways, there might be some other options, and this might be an interesting place to tap out at the output of that op amp, you might get a, you know, a 2-pole low pass plus a 1-pole high pass or something like that. So there might be some cool responses other than the typical old 4-pole low pass that you can get out of this thing. Ya boy, Dan back with another demo. I love it when people say that. That's so clever. Ya boy. This is Ya boy breadboard. It's got the circuit on it. It's got 3 parameters. It's got resonance, cutoff, modulation amount, and got the sawtooth and pulse wave from this little SM3340 VCO that I whipped up recently. So let's check out some 4-pole low pass sounds. And of course that's the sawtooth. So one thing about this filter is it does lose a little bit of volume when you turn up the resonance, but not nearly as much, I think, than most ladder filters. And then it goes into self-oscillation, which I'll demo a bit of in a minute. That's some sound. Here's some pulse. So that's kind of a nice sound, I think. Like the character of the 13700s, I think, is still in there a little bit, which I don't particularly like, but if you told me that was an IR3109, I wouldn't be like, ugh, that's not right. But so that's some bread and butter 4-pole sounds. So here's some self-oscillation. I took the oscillator out, just disconnected it from the input. So things are going to get a little loud. So. I love those sounds. That's one of my favorite things about cascaded OTA 4-poles is the cool kick drums you can get out of them. So anyways, that's some stuff there. So I'll put the oscillator back in. And let's check out some other spots in the circuit. So that was all 4-pole. Let's check out some kind of bandpass stuff here. That's that. And then I'll do high pass. So, you know, kind of cool. So I think this is 2-pull low pass. You know, sounding more Oberheim there, maybe. Whatever this response is. Some sort of band pass, I think. Just the audio interface saturating. Not all these outputs are the same volumes. And you know, it doesn't sound super fat with one VCO, but you can imagine with two VCOs beating against each other, this would be a pretty fat. So that's a filter sweep. And what else we got? I think there's an output over here. Way the fuck over here. That's kind of a cool band pass. You can get it to disappear on either side. So yeah, that's the filter. It's pretty okay. Ugh. I think this was the 4-pull right here. I think that's a nice patch, nice sound. Makes me think happy thoughts. So, anyways, I don't know. I think the 13700s might be holding it back a little bit, but I think it's a cool topology. Anyways.